Hey there, if you love the freedom of the open road, today's review is going to be right up your alley. We're taking a look at the iScooter U3 folding electric bike, a compact yet powerful little ride that fits perfectly into campervan living. Whether you're cruising into town from a remote campsite or just need a quick ride to the shop without moving your van, the U3 might just be your new favourite travel companion. So stick with us.
Don't forget to check out our other videos on everything campervan and motorhome related, from solar to water, heating to gadgets, tyres to trips. If you like this video, please do hit the thumbs up. It really does help me to know what you like, and you can ask any questions or give feedback in the comments. If you want to make sure you don't miss any of our future videos, please hit the subscribe button, and clicking the bell will give you a notification when a new video goes live. Finally, if you do decide to hit the thumbs down, it would be great if you could also leave a comment so I know what you didn't like.
The U3 from iScooter is the lowest cost e-bike we've tried, yet it's still lightweight, foldable and surprisingly zippy. It's fully EU and UK compliant, but still has the option of being unrestricted for off-road use. Is it the ultimate campervan companion? Well, we're here at our favourite off-road closed circuit to try it out, so let's get on with it and find out.
The U3 from iScooter right now is an absolute bargain price for the white model at just £349, and if you want the black, it's still good at £479. Now my guess is they have an excess of the white and are selling them off, as around the £500 mark is a great price for what you get, in my opinion. Before we take a look at what you get, let's look at the setup. It is the simplest bike to assemble, as it comes out of the box pretty much complete, just needing the handlebars to be mounted and the pedals attached. So if you're put off by mounting wheels, mudguards and racks like you need to on some other bikes, this is a great choice. Unlike other bikes, it comes without a throttle actually being on the bike at all, and it can be ridden with pedal assist without it. Adding the supplied throttle is super easy should you want to for off-road use. So now we're set up, let's take a look at what we get. The U3 is neat with clean lines, one-piece wheels, comfy saddle and easy to use controls. With front and rear lights, rear rack seat, front suspension, disc brakes and robust plastic mudguards make it tough enough to challenge almost any roads and light trails. The 250 watt rated motor keeps it UK and EU compliant. Weighing in at just 25 kilos with a payload capacity of 120 kilos, its 36 volts 7.6 ampere hour battery, which is just over 280 watt hours, has a claimed range of 50 plus miles in pedal assist and 30 to 40 miles in electric only. Now this obviously depends on the terrain and the weight of the rider, but in our tests this seems reasonably accurate. It's worth noting the battery cannot be removed from the bike for charging. With a quoted rider height of 4'9" to 6'4", it really could suit almost everyone. One key feature of the U3 is its ability to fold, and this is super simple to do. As is the unfolding. So now let's see how it rides. We're here at a closed road circuit to enable us to test the bike out in unrestricted mode, but we'll start with EU and UK compliant mode.
So the iScooter U3 is quite a different bike to the ones we're used to riding. It's small, compact, the bars are narrow, and the wheels are pretty tiny. So it's going to be quite a different ride. At the moment, for this lap, we've got it on full power assist without throttle, but also with the UK speed limit in force of 15.5 miles per hour. It has no gears, so just the single gear. It's going to be interesting to say the least. So here we go. It is a low gear. We're coming up to the hill now. We're doing 15 miles an hour. I can't change any gears obviously to make this easier, but with the power assist we might be okay. Because it's quite a low gear to start with, I am putting some effort in. The power assist is also helping, and yeah, it's not too bad actually to get up here. Still doing 11 miles an hour at the top. And then once we're at the top, we're way back up to 15. You know, I can ghost pedal for most of this lap, so just keep my pedals turning so that the motor kicks in, and it'll just keep me at that speed limit. And now on a downhill, so the motor's gone off. Surprisingly smooth for such a small bike. They are smooth tyres, so that's not too surprising, but they are very little tyres. But it does give you quite a bit of confidence in it. It's not too rickety or you know, nervous to ride, even though the handlebars are really long, the seat's really high. Now we'll drop down to that 15 miles per hour. The power has kicked back in again. Whilst I am turning the pedals to keep the power assistance going, I'm not actually putting in any effort at all. The gearing is so low that I would have to be pedalling so fast to exceed that 15 miles an hour that it's not going to happen. But the bike is still trundling along on power only. We're doing 2 further laps with this bike. The next one's my favourite, which will be with totally unrestricted, so speed limit switched off and the throttle enabled, and we'll see whether we can get all the way around without pedalling. I think I might have to give it some help up that hill, but we'll see. And then the last lap will be with no power assistance at all, so just my leg power getting us round, and whilst it's probably going to be a reasonably easy lap because of the low gearing, it's going to be pretty slow because I'm not going to be able to keep the cadence of my pedalling up to get anywhere near 15 miles an hour, I think, but we'll see. And we're coming up to that finishing line now. As I say, super easy, low effort lap, just having to keep those pedals rotating. There we go. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to give it a little bit of a help pedalling to get going, but now I'm on the throttle. On the flat here, we've exceeded that 15 mile an hour speed limit now, 17 miles an hour, 18 miles an hour. Just touching 19 miles an hour on the throttle on the pretty much flat. I'm not pedalling at all here. I'm simply letting the power of the motor take us round and see what it can do. I can already predict that when we get to the hill, I am going to have to help it. 18.5 miles an hour coming up to the hill. I'm going to leave it till the last minute to assist it getting up the hill, just in case it can actually make it. Here we go, try and get the best line for it to keep the speed up. There we go, it's dropping off 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. No, I'm going to have to assist a little bit, but keeping that power on makes it super easy. And there we go, once we're up at the top, I can stop pedalling. Coming down here, I don't even need the motor on. I can just easily breeze down the hill. Doing 20 miles an hour down here, and it feels pretty comfortable. 21 and a half, 22 miles an hour. Okay, I'm going to put the power on now to try and keep us some momentum up. 19 miles an hour. It seems to be able to hold us at about 18, 19 miles an hour. And on the back straight, yeah, it's still maintaining between 18 and 19 miles an hour as we go down this back straight. There is a little bit of a headwind, but not a huge amount. then here we go, coming into the finish on our fully powered lap. Power off and braking on. Okay, so now on our final lap, the one with no power. So as you can see, I can set off quite easily. That low gearing helps that, but now having no gears, I can't really get any faster than 10 or 11 miles an hour without having to go nuts at the pedalling. Now that's fine for a nip to the shops. If you've run out of power and you need to get back, then it's perfectly capable. You're just not going to be doing it very fast. But for most people cruising around and just those odd shopping trips, it's probably fine. Just in case you do run out of power. Now we'll see if it is low enough to help me get up that hill. It is going to be hard work, and it might even be a get off and push, because I can't get it to a nice low power to help me with the low gear. But we'll see. The combination of the low gearing and the small tyres, not sure how helpful that's going to be. It's worth mentioning that with that front suspension, even though it is quite short travel, it does make it nice and smooth. Okay, so I am having to put all my weight into these pedals to get up this hill. But wow, yeah, just achievable, I would say. I wouldn't want to be going up any steeper or longer hill than that without any power on. Obviously coming down that hill is quite easy. So again, I'm pedalling, but I'm not even driving the bike yet until it hits about 10 miles an hour from that free wheel. And now coming into the finish, not a fast lap by any means, but that enforced relaxed riding style of the single gear. Actually, it's pretty pleasant and not dissimilar to a normal bike.
So let's take a look at the stats. We can see that in power assistance level 3, which is the highest on the U3, it was a very relaxed ride, with my average heart rate only just higher than the unrestricted lap. With the power assist off completely, my average heart rate was obviously higher and the average speed lower, but that low fixed gear does mean it wasn't too strenuous. Now we've seen how it performs on the tarmac, let's see how it does on the trails. Even with its small and pretty slick tyres which make it great on tarmac, the U3 copes well with grass and gravel. The front suspension takes the bumps out of the ride nicely, and the powerful little motor works well with power assist or on throttle only. So overall, the iScooter U3 seems to be great value for money, packing lots of features and quality into a compact and pretty light bike, particularly if you're after a white one. Thanks for watching our video, and as always, if you have any questions or feedback, please pop them in the comments below. If you find the video useful, please like, share and consider subscribing.